Hello and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh. So, are you choosing a modified version of you? Yeah. So about a month ago, I was doing an exercise video, and in the video, the person was doing jumping jacks. Now, I haven't probably done jumping jacks for 30 some years. And on the video, there was the option of doing the modified version on the one side, and then the jumping jacks gal was here. So I did what I've been doing for years and years and years, is I went straight to the modified version of the jumping jacks. And then I realized that I'm not the same as I was when I required to do the modified version. So body-wise, I'm smaller, body-wise, I'm stronger, and so many other ways, and I'm not the same person. Now, it just made me wonder, can I do them? Like, can I do jumping jacks? And for some of you, you're probably like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. However, for someone like me who has chose the modified version on pretty much every workout video, workout program for years and years and years, to even consider it, I was excited that I was even considering it. So then I thought, well, I have a really phenomenal sports bra now. I bought it last year to run. Everybody who I talked to that I was going to start running said, please, well, I should say every female said, please make sure that you get this really good sports bra. So I got it. It's called 𝐠∫fit. You can find it online. Anyway, so I have one of those. So I put it on because I thought jumping jacks, similar to running, might not be so fun. Put it on and tried it out. I did them with ease, total ease and joy and glory to do these jumping jacks. And it just opened up my whole world to how many places have I done the modified version. And I don't mean just workout wise, I mean in every area of my life and my living, like operating from who I was then, but still choosing what I chose then. Now, I was going to say because and fill that sentence in, but there's no because I chose to, because I'm choosing to. And what else might be possible if we truly choose to be who we are every 10 seconds? Meaning we're not doing the same thing we did yesterday just because we did it yesterday, or last year, or last month, or 20 years ago, or lifetimes ago, whatever it might be. Like, what if something else is possible? And one of the tools in Access Consciousness that I really only started getting, I don't think it was last year, I think it was the year before. And I know I've done whole videos, probably whole radio shows on this, but it's this question of, who am I today? And what grand and glorious adventures can I have? And asking that every day. And so just so you guys know, if you can hear her, little Toddy is in the room, my little kitty, playing with her rings. She has a very large assortment of rings from like milk jugs and juice jugs and such. Those are her favorite toys, and she is playing with one. So you can hear sometimes like jumping off and meowing, and who knows, she might end up throwing it my way. We never know. But anyway, just if you're hearing that, that's what's going on. So when we are asking, who am I today and what grand and glorious adventures can I have? We're acknowledging that we're not who we were yesterday. No, we can be, but we don't have to be. And a few years ago, I heard Dane here from Access Consciousness. I heard him speak about this tool. And again, I have been using these tools for 10 years, guys. It was probably one of the very first tools that I heard, but I didn't really get it. I didn't even really use it. A little bit here and there, but not much. until I heard him speak about it a couple of years ago. And there was a situation in my life where I was not, I really wanted myself to choose differently about it, to not be upset about it or have a reaction to it. I really, really, really wanted it to be different, like me to choose different. And I just wasn't. And I cleared, and I, had sessions with other people, and I did all the things, and it had certainly gotten better, but it wasn't where I knew I could be with it. So when I heard him talking about this tool, I looked at how I wasn't choosing to be who I said I would like to be. I wasn't choosing to be the person who didn't have a reaction to that situation. I was choosing every day to have a reaction to that situation. How do I know? Because I was having a reaction to it anytime I thought of it. Now, there were times, of course, I didn't think of it for a whole day, probably even a whole week at times. But when I did go there, that was the energy. It was like this, all the victim energy. And so when he spoke about it, I really looked at, like, who am I today? Would I like to be the person today who reacts to that? Would I like to be the person who doesn't react to that? Would I like to be the person who chooses greater? Would I like to be the person who chooses consciousness? Would I like to be the person who bees allowance? Would I like to be cranky about it? Like, it really put it into perspective for me that I have a choice. I have a choice. Now, with this situation in particular, it wasn't something for me to talk to somebody else about. It was really at the point it was at, it was just time for me to get the hell over it. Like, really, that's where I was at with it. And it took me hearing Dane talk about that tool to really get and acknowledge that I chose to not be okay with it when I could actually choose to be okay with it. Who am I today? Am I the person who has ease with this, or am I the person who struggles with this? Who am I today? I get to actually choose. So when I look at that, the exercise video or the modified version of me, I could have continued to choose to do the modified version of the jumping jacks. It wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been wrong. It just was a choice. But if we look at that in every area of our life and we start asking, who am I today? Then we don't have to do what we did. We could be the person who, drives a boat. If that's something you've never done, but you would like to. I have no idea why boat. Maybe because the Niagara Falls is behind me, but I wouldn't suggest riding a boat there. But anyway, but something that you maybe have never done because you don't do that. Well, who are you today? If it's something you'd like to do, what if you did it? Like, what if you tried it? Now, driving a boat, maybe you need to get a license first, or there's other things. So then you could be that person today. And my good friend Angela, I remember her a few years ago saying she really liked this one Pilates class. But it was very early in the morning for her. Early mornings are not her thing. Plus, she'd have to leave her house and get to the class on time and all of that. So when she would wake up to her alarm, which it was really early for her, she knew she had a choice. And she said the conversation in her head would go something like, well, you know what? I'm not going to go today. I don't feel like going. Oh, I got this on, I got that, like all the things. And then she would say, would I like to be the person today who goes early to Pilates class? Or would I like to be the person who sleeps in? And it just reframed it for her because she really desired to be the person who went to the Pilates class they loved, not the one that just was in the afternoon that was easier for her to get to. So look at those things. For me, I'm so grateful to be the person who does jumping jacks. Now, if that might not be your thing, or Pilates might not be your thing, maybe you'd like to be the person who has an additional $20,000 in their savings account, or they would like to be investing in stocks, or like whatever that is. What if you stop being the modified version of you and actually be all of you? Anything that doesn't allow that to show up as if by magic, will you destroy and uncreate it all? right, wrong, good, bad, all 9 POD POC shorts, boys and beyonds. And we go back to it just being choice. We have to choose it. Now, it probably wouldn't have been something. So I started really cognitively, consciously choosing to move my body about, just over 2 years ago. So I hired a trainer and I saw her for a long time, and then just doing things on my own now. Chances are 2 years ago, if I would have done that video, doing the jumping jacks wouldn't have actually been, created greater for me or my body. So it took other choices to get me to where it was. I didn't need to choose that modified version. And that's, I think, the thing that a lot of us, if we can't have it yesterday, then, well, what's the point? Like, screw it. No, guys, that's where, if we're truly living our lives, then those, what we might call little choices, so me going and seeing my trainer twice a week, or me doing my 15-minute resistant band, exercise or whatever, those are just part of living, part of contributing and making choices that add to my life. And not so much that every day that I'm focused on, well, I can't do a jumping jack yet. And yet often we do that. We put our targets or our goals, whatever you want to call them, on one thing. But it doesn't work very well for us, what I call us magical people. Us magical people, it's actually contributes more to have way more targets on the go than just one, because if we have just one, we have way too much time to pick it apart and to check in every 2 minutes. Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? I'm not, so I'm wrong. I know, I'm sure I'm the only one that's ever done that. So truly, the more that you can have on the go, the more you're creating towards, the more you're choosing, then it doesn't become this tunnel vision of just the one thing. And so, when I look at myself with that video and then going, wait, can I do jumping jacks now? I mean, it wasn't something I was cognitively choosing towards, and yet all the choices I was choosing got me there, and who knows where else they might continue to take me. I mean, I look so forward to spring this year, not only because my swimming pool will be open, but also so that I can get back outside and running. I've been doing a lot of snowshoe. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, because these past few weeks have been ridiculously cold. Plus, for a while there, we didn't have any really good snow left. Sounds funny, I know, we're in Canada, but anyway, I've been doing other things, but I really, the 5 Couch to 5K app, I'm so excited to get started with that again, and everything else that I'm choosing. And so really looking at, one, where have you decided you need to modify you? And what is that? Like, get curious about that. Let's say you put away so much money each month from your paycheck. So let's say you put, I don't know what people put away, 2% of their paycheck, let's say, goes into their savings account or into their retirement savings accounts. Like, have you ever really looked at that, and does that work for you? Would you like it to be more? Maybe you would like it to be 10%, but you started at 2% because that's what worked 10 years ago, but you never looked at it again. So even if you just get a sense of, maybe just to make it easy, pick one area of your life that isn't the way you would like it to be. And it doesn't have to be a total disaster, but just one area of your life that you would like it to be better. Yeah. And then get curious about the choices you're making in that area. So again, if it's this money thing and you would like to have more money in your savings account, but you're only putting 2% away, like, really cognitively look at that. Be present with it. Okay, so what would happen if you change that to 5% or to 10%? What have you decided? What are the stories you're telling yourself? Who are you being when you're not doing it the way you'd like to do? Yeah, because all the things that we would like, depending on how drastically different it is from where it is now, chances are there's some level of you requiring to be and do something different to have it be what you'd like it to be. So if you would like to be, putting away 10%, but you're only putting away 2%, you might not be able to go straight to the 10%, and you might. Look at me. I went from modified version of jumping jack to jumping jack, and I don't know if there was 10 or 15 of them, with ease. And again, the support bra was brilliant. But really, like, what are those choices? And maybe they're smaller. Maybe you go from 2% to 3%, or 2% to 4%, or whatever it is. But really look at that and be present with it and acknowledge what you are choosing and what that's creating and what you'd like to be creating. And maybe it's not a percentage you'd like to put away. Maybe you have a certain amount that you would like to have in a savings account. Maybe you've looked at what your 6 months of expenses are. They always say have 6 months of expenses in cash. And so let's say it costs you $5,000 a month to live, and you would really like to have 6 months of that in a bank account. So that would be, I believe, $30,000 if my math is correct. So then you look at that, and maybe you've got $12,000 in there, so you would require $18,000 more. So what choices then can you be choosing to actualize that from all of you? So not from the modified version, but from all of you. And the question, and I've talked about this a little bit, is what can I be and do different today to change this? So you can keep it like that, or you could ask it more specific. So if it's the money thing, what can I be and do different today to actualize at least $30,000 in my savings account right away? So you just start asking and notice the question, what can I be and do different? So being is one thing. So being is difficult to put into words, but what can I be or do different? So it might even be the being is just to be more aware of what you are choosing. Be more aware of, I don't know, for some people buying coffee at, say a $7 cup of coffee every day, that might work better to put into the savings account or whatever it is. What can I be or do different? So it might just be more aware. And of course, do different. There's so many things. But really, if you're looking at being all of you and being the magic of you, yeah, rather than that modified version. And I would kind of say that most of us are the version of either what other people have said we should be, or our family, where we're just mimicking the people around us, rather than what would you like? What would you like? What would you like your bank account to be like? What would you like your business or your career to be like? How would you like to spend your day? What would you like your relationships to be like? And even when we take a moment to consider those things, guys, we're already stepping outside of the modified version of us, because honestly, the modified version of us is to not even look at that. The modified version of us is just to do what we do every day and don't change anything and be happy with what is and be grateful that we're not starving in another country and like all that stuff. And it's like, no, what would you like it to be like? Now, for me, I love to be inspired. So I love to watch things on social media and stuff of people who are choosing beyond what I'm choosing. So there's this inspiration there. There's this, well, if they can do it, so can I. And so that really works well for me to go, yeah. Now, we don't want to do that from the copying from, well, if they can have it, then I can have exactly what they have. No. Really, if you see somebody, let's say you're on Facebook or Instagram or something, and you see somebody, I don't know, let's say they just bought a new house, and you just look at the pictures and you're just like, you can ask universe, just say, universe, I'll have that. And then in a way that works for me. So this is a recent add-on. I heard a gal, Emily, she added that, and I just love the energy of that, because when we see somebody like, say, with a new house, now personally in this 10 seconds, I'm not interested in a new house. I love this house. I love the swimming pool. Even in the winter, I love the swimming pool. So I'm not looking for a new house. So if I just saw somebody with a new house on social media, I might not even be willing to ask, because the assumption is if I'm saying, universe, I'll have that, then I am going to have a new house. Universe, I'll have that in a way that works for me, which is like so much yummier, because the energy that people be with something that's really delicious for them, that's often what really lights us up. So you might never have an interest in traveling, but you see different pictures of people in other countries and you go, oh, wow, I must want to travel. It's like, you could, maybe, who knows, you can check in with yourself, but it could be the energy that they're being in that photo because they desire to travel is actually more of what you're interested in. Universe, I'll have that in a way that works for me. So please start using that tool, guys, because one, it gets you out of your head. You don't have to figure it out. I'll ask it about, somebody's new house, or sometimes I'll see a house that's just so luxurious and extravagant and just delicious, and be like, oh, universe, I'll have that in a way that works for me, which means as of, this moment, actually, hubby is downstairs painting my video room, which is why I'm not doing this video in my usual video room. Or, in the last little while, I've been doing them in my video room. So he's actually painting that, and he painted the big open space in the basement last week, and then he's going to do my office this week. And so to me, that's that energy. All those homes that I saw that were just so yummy and delicious, and for me, that this is matching the energy. So no, I didn't have to go get a new home. I just needed to convince hubby to paint. And the only reason that I'm not helping him is because he is a professional painter. Like, he's over the top. Like, he could make millions of dollars painting houses, but he won't. He absolutely will not. It takes years and years for me to get him convinced to paint. He just doesn't like doing it, but he's so good at it. He doesn't even need to use like special tape or anything when he cuts corners on that. He just uses freehand. Anyway, I could just go on and on and on about how amazing he is, especially when he's painting. So if you look at that and you really start being present with what you would like your life and living to be like, and you don't have to know the specifics. You don't have to figure out how much more money you would like. Now, you might know. You might know that you would like to have a different car and it's going to cost an additional $500 a month. Great, then definitely have that as part of the ask, but it doesn't have to be. So you might just know there's an energy you would like that, like I was talking about, the luxury, the expansiveness, the deliciousness in your home. You might know that, but might not know what that looks like. It's not like specifically, oh, I want, this sort of furniture and I want this sort of flooring, and it just could be an energy. That's okay. Universe, I'll have that in a way that works for me, and then it'll start showing up. But your job really is to look at what you've modified and just check in. Does that actually work for you? Is that who you be now? I don't be the person who can't do jumping jacks now, but it took me recognizing that I'm not that person to go, wait a minute, if I don't have to modify me anymore. And even if I, hurt my leg and I needed to modify jumping jacks again, that I'm still not that person that I was all those years ago. So it really is looking at, one, we have a choice every day. Well, we have a choice every 10 seconds, every day. We have many, 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 many choices. And who are you today? Who would you like to be today? Are you the person who chooses to be the magic of them, or are you the person who chooses the struggle? Yeah. And what grand and glorious adventures can you have? Because this is the thing, even though I know at this point, if you're listening when this comes out, there's still a lot of people in lockdown and can't maybe live the way they used to, you can still create grand and glorious adventures. It really is what lights us up and really is what contributes. So if you're asking for that every day, guess what will show up, my sweet friends? Yeah. So what else is truly possible that we've never even considered? Yeah. So a couple of the tools that we talked about: who am I today and what grand and glorious adventures can I have? Ask that every day. And then what can I be and do different today to actualize this whatever right away? Or what can I be and do different today to change this right away? And then being present with where you are, whatever area of your life, and then what would you like different? Does it work for you? Is it enough for you? You know, I remember years ago when I first started my business, I just had this energy of like $10,000 months. Man, when I get that, like that's the end all be all. And, you know, it took me probably not quite 10 years, 7 or 8 years to actually, you know, get that. And it was like, okay, no, you know, so that it was like, okay, well, when I get to 20, when I get to 30, when I get to 40, 50, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, no, we're constantly changing. So what we desire, what we're asking for, those need to change too. We need to be checking in with those. Yeah. So have a fabulous rest of your week, sweet friends. You can find links to all the awesomeness that I've got coming up. I would love to see you in person or online somewhere soon. I'm just so incredibly grateful for you. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and I look forward to chatting again next week.